Hi, my name's Phil. I'd like to talk about politics. In this video, I'd like to discuss the issues around the Holidays Without Hunger campaign designed to get the government to stop over 1 million children starving this summer and how you can effectively influence the event. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So, a little bit different this one. Bit of a campaign, but it's a very, very important one because as an experienced teacher, I've received training on an annual basis for all sorts of things. This is because the government, as well as individual schools and colleges or local authorities, consider some things to be so important, but they don't come up very often, that you need to be constantly mindful of them and therefore need constant training. So, you'd get constant training on things like Prevent, which is a program designed to counter the radicalisation of young people by extremists. We have training on female genital mutilation, the signs of general abuse, on spotting the signs of impending forced marriage, and on spotting the signs of neglect. And one of the big ones with neglect, of course, is hunger, malnutrition. Now in England, the official government figures say that there are 1.3 million children on free school meals. And this is because their families cannot afford sufficient levels of food. This doesn't include children who may be in poverty but don't qualify for the free school meals because it's based on a set income, but obviously an income isn't the same across the country. Some parts of the country are more expensive to live in, for example. But also the free school meals only applies during term time because the meals are provided for in schools and colleges themselves. So at weekends and holidays, they get nothing, as if you can somehow go into stasis outside of school times or something like that. But with the coronavirus pandemic, the country has been a little bit introspective about some of the social injustices in our society, and child poverty has been one of those areas. Now, vouchers, or indeed just straight cash, have been issued to those who'd qualify for free school meals normally, or at least most of them, or at least the ones for whom the vouchers work, as obviously you can't access school meals if you're not in school because of the closures. Now, the Welsh Government and the Scottish Government have announced that they will be continuing the scheme during the summer holidays this year. But this is not the case in England. I've not actually been able to find whether it is or it is not in Northern Ireland. Maybe someone can help me. But it is certainly not the case in England. England doesn't have its own assembly. And so we're subject to the ourselves in Westminster. And the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, when he was asked about this last week in Prime Minister's Questions, battered away the question about children going hungry over summer with reference to a £63 million that he has made available for councils to use on a discretionary basis. But let's look at a few aspects of this. So, first of all, that £63 million isn't for free school meals. It is a welfare assistance fund that, in theory, a council could use for people who are not able to feed themselves. But it will have to be used to cover the shortfall in all sorts of public services due to the loss of business rates. It will not come even close. But let's look at some real figures here. So, the free school meals vouchers being used in term time to replace the actual school meals during the pandemic work out at about £20 per child per week for their food. Fair enough. Now, the summer holidays last 6 weeks in England. So that works out at £156 million. To continue the free school meals over summer, £156 million. But the Prime Minister is trying to suggest that he has done his job by allocating a wodge of cash to councils that comes to £63 million. Now, even if that payment was given to councils to deal with food hunger, food poverty, it's not enough on its own. But of course, that money is to be used for, as I say, a whole raft of services. And this is how these things need to be phrased so that people understand the situation. Because most people don't understand the sums involved, You know, most people don't know how many children there are who go hungry without school meals. Of course not. Why would you? You need to look these things up. Most people won't know what the actual costs are for the food that they need. And most don't even have the mathematical inclination, even if they have the skill, to work it all out if they did know these things. And compare it to that £63 million, which is why Boris Johnson's response works so well on a political level, because he just announces £63 million. So you know what most observers are going to be thinking. Oh, he's given a load of money to councils. Yeah, okay, he hasn't said you've got to use this for this, this for that. He's been flexible with it. He's given them a whole load of cash, and £63 million, that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? That's a lot. He's given it to the council and said, look, you know, you've got, we understand you've got issues, that vulnerable people in your communities are going to struggle. Here's the money. You know your local areas. You allocate the cash where it's really needed. We're giving you the flexibility to do that. So if kids go hungry, it'll be the fault of councils and not the government, because the government have given them the money to do it. But they haven't, not even close. The amount given is 40% of the amount needed to cover the food, and that's ignoring everything else that the fund is supposed to be for. And also, I'm not aware actually of exactly how this money's been allocated. Is, for example, a disproportionate amount of this fund being allocated towards Conservative councils and away from Labour councils? Because I wouldn't put that past them either. So, what can we do about this? There are a couple of things that if you feel as strongly as I do about this, that you can definitely do. There are any number of petitions, including the Labour Party's Holidays Without Hunger petition, which is the one I have signed. You could sign multiple. Doesn't stop you doing that. And I'd also suggest that some people will think, oh, you know, there's always petitions out for this, that and the other. Yeah, fill them in. If you believe in what the petition's calling for, fill it in. Never allow yourself to think, oh, it makes no difference. It absolutely makes a difference. Even if it doesn't change policy, it makes a difference, because then it's a record of people's feelings on something that they cannot then deny. But I'd also strongly advise, and I would do this for any issue at all, to contact your MP. No matter which party they represent, no matter what the issue, you write to your MP on a daily basis if you have an issue that you think your MP can do something about on a daily basis. Do not imagine there is no point contacting your MP because it won't change anything. It will change something. Whether it changes what you want changes doesn't matter, but it will always change something. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I have written to my MP to give you some idea. I've only just written it at the point at which I'm recording this. I haven't got a response back yet, of course. So, my MP is Holly Mumby-Croft. She is a Conservative MP, and just for a bit of background, when I wrote to her about the Dominic Cummings issue, I will say, to be fair to her, she was very clear in her response, and she was very clearly opposed to Dominic Cummings not at the very least apologising and suggesting he probably shouldn't have even been in post. But what I have written, and I'm going to read it out and then I'm going to break down why this is the way I would suggest writing it. Don't just write down, oh, this is terrible. Do you agree it's terrible? What are you going to do about it? Because first of all, if you do that, I absolutely know, especially if it's a Conservative MP, what the response will be. The response will be, I agree that this is a serious situation, but I'm pleased to announce that the government have said that they are going to provide a welfare assistance fund of an extra £63 million to cover this and other issues. Don't let them respond that. So what have I done in my first paragraph? I'd be grateful for your thoughts on the upcoming school holidays and the fact that in England, unlike the rest of Britain, over 1 million children in poverty will not have access to the funds to feed them. I am aware that the Prime Minister said that he has allocated £63 million to councils for welfare assistance, but free school meals over the summer holidays would cost, using the government's own figures, £156 million alone, and the welfare fund would be needed for so much more than food. So instantly, you prevent that response. They cannot say, oh, he's given £63 million, because you've already made it clear that's not enough. Then on to the next one, the local MP bit, because they are a local MP, they are supposed to bat for their constituents. You have to do a bit of research for this. So I researched, how many kids in Scunthorpe, which is my constituency, have free school meals. And it's 1 in 6 in Scunthorpe. So I said, with about 1 in 6 children in Scunthorpe eligible for free school meals, in Scunthorpe, I've said again, actually, that's very poor. Sorry. And consequentially risking serious malnutrition over summer, could you please advise on what you are doing to ensure that the children of Scunthorpe are provided for in the same way as would be the case were we living in Scotland or Wales? Kind regards, lifted at that. Now, the benefit of writing it like this, first of all, imagine, and do this with any issue, imagine what is going to be the set response back. Counter it. Counter it straight away. My first paragraph says, don't even talk to me about the 63 million. It's not enough. Then you need to say, what are you doing for your local constituents? Because that's ultimately what it's got to be about. What are you doing for your local constituents? This MP has to come back to me with one of two responses. Either they're going to do something. Now, if they do something, fair play. I'm not saying it'll change it. They don't have the power, if they're acting alone, to change this. But they can at least add their voice to the calls to have this scheme extended over summer. Will they do that? If they do, fine, fair enough. But if they don't, then that's 1 in 6 children in Scunthorpe that they're saying, sort yourselves out over summer. 1 in 6 families of children. So that's, you know, double the number of parents. But, well, it's actually not, because most of it's got more than one kid in the household. But it's, you know, family of those that are old enough to vote that might remember at the next election you could have made a stand at least. You might not have been able to get us the money, but you could have made a stand, and you didn't. You told us just to starve and shut up about it over summer when we're in the middle of this pandemic. So that's the way I would recommend, without putting the name of your constituency twice in the same sentence. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, please also click the Patreon link for details. And until next time, I'll see you later.